The day I found my wife with my brother, our anniversary dinner was still warm on the table. My name is Mark, I'm 34 years old, and 8 months ago, I thought I had a perfect family. Sarah and I had been together for 12 years, married for 7. We had 2 beautiful kids, a house filled with laughter, and a life I wouldn't trade for anything. My younger brother, Ben, was our closest confidant, always there for birthdays, holidays, and even our annual camping trips. Everything was exactly how I'd always dreamed it would be. But everything changed when I walked back into our quiet home that night. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue. She had this infectious laugh and a kindness that drew everyone in. I was a budding architect. She was a passionate elementary school teacher. Everyone said we were meant to be. She was organized, supportive, and remembered every little detail about me, like my irrational fear of heights and my love for spicy food. When I proposed to her on a surprise trip to Paris, she cried tears of joy. This was my person, my forever. 7 years into our marriage, our life was a comfortable rhythm. Weekends filled with kids' soccer games, movie nights, and Sunday dinners at my parents' house. Ben was always there, too. My parents loved having both their sons and their families around. He was the fun uncle, the cool brother. He'd often stop by our house after work just to say hi to the kids or help me with a DIY project. Looking back, the signs were there. I just chose to ignore them. Sarah would sometimes be a little too excited when he called, or they'd share inside jokes that I didn't quite get, but I brushed it off as sibling-in-law camaraderie. She even started dressing a little differently on days she knew he'd be over. Subtle changes, things I told myself were just her evolving style. I was 6 months into a new, demanding project at work when I first noticed her being different. She'd become withdrawn. Late-night conversations dwindled. "The kids are exhausting me," she'd say, her eyes avoiding mine. She started spending more time on her phone, always facing away from me. I'd ask her what was wrong, try to engage her, but she'd just sigh, pull away and say, "Nothing, Mark. Just tired." And that's when things got worse. My gut churned, a cold knot forming in my stomach. I wanted to believe her, wanted to believe everything was fine, but the distance between us felt like an ocean. My vibrant, loving wife was slowly becoming a stranger. The situation intensified. I tried talking to her again, begging her to tell me what was going on. Her answers were vague, dismissive. "You're imagining things, Mark. It's stress from work." But the stress was making me feel disconnected, not her. My brother Ben, who usually called me every other day, had suddenly gone quiet. He stopped coming over as frequently. When I mentioned it to Sarah, she just shrugged. "He's probably busy," she said too quickly. I started checking her phone when she was in the shower, but she'd changed her passcode. A wave of dread washed over me. I wanted to believe it was just my paranoia, a byproduct of my demanding job and lack of sleep. But I wasn't ready for what I discovered next. I remembered a hidden folder she used to keep photos of us in, a place I'd almost forgotten. On a hunch, I tried the old passcode. It worked. And there it was. Not photos of us, but a string of flirtatious messages, then explicit ones between her and Ben, my own brother. My world shattered in that moment. It was our 7th wedding anniversary. I'd come home early from work, surprising her with flowers and tickets to a concert she loved. I found her in the living room in Ben's arms. Not just a hug, but a deep, passionate kiss. His hand was tangled in her hair, hers gripping his shirt. The anniversary dinner, her favorite Italian, was getting cold on the dining table. I stood in the doorway, the flowers slipping from my numb fingers, scattering across the floor. They broke apart, eyes wide, faces flushed with guilt. Sarah stammered, "Mark, it's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. Ben, usually so self-assured, couldn't even meet my gaze. He just stood there, shoulders slumped, a silent confession. I felt a primal scream tear through my throat, a sound I didn't recognize as my own. My mind reeled, trying to connect the dots of all the missed signs, the late-night texts, the shared glances. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. I saw my entire life, my family, my future crumbling before my eyes. What happened next still haunts me. I erupted, yelling, screaming, the words blurring into a painful torrent of accusations and disbelief. Sarah was crying, trying to explain, but her words were meaningless. Ben just kept his head down, a coward. I told them both to get out. Sarah took the kids to her sister's house, and Ben vanished into the night. The house felt hollow, echoing with the silence that followed the storm. The next few days were a blur of phone calls, lawyers, and tears. My parents were devastated, unable to comprehend how this could happen within their own family. My kids, confused and scared, kept asking where Daddy and Mommy were sleeping. I had to make the hardest decision of my life, a decision that would redefine our family forever. Weeks turned into months. Sarah and I are divorcing. It's messy, as these things always are, especially with children involved. We're navigating co-parenting, trying to shield our kids from the worst of the fallout. I haven't spoken to Ben since that night. My parents have tried to mediate, but the wound is too deep. He sends texts sometimes, apologies that feel hollow, but I can't bring myself to reply. I'm focusing on my children, on rebuilding my life, on finding a way to trust again. It's a slow, painful process. Some days I feel strong, ready to move forward. Other days, the betrayal washes over me, a tidal wave of grief. The biggest lesson I've learned is that trust is a fragile thing, easily shattered, almost impossible to fully repair. To anyone going through something similar, listen to your gut. Don't ignore the red flags, no matter how small. Your peace of mind is worth protecting, even if it means confronting uncomfortable truths. It hurts, but sometimes destruction is necessary for rebuilding. My family may be broken, but I'm finding strength in the pieces, creating a new foundation for my children. You are stronger than you think, and you deserve a love that is honest and true.